What is up, guys? We are back on our big biting questions day. We got a few of you guys that brought some questions in, and I thought were actually pretty good. First one is going to come from Whitney Wolf. She asks, best way to travel with your gear? Well, if I had to tell you, bring a two-piece rod or two-piece rods in general. I've carried, 7-foot rods, 7'6" rods, all the way up to 8-9 foot rods on traveling trips, and it is just a mess because some of them don't break down. And then you have one of these extremely long travel tubes that you have to expand, and it reminds me of the Toy Story movie when the kid's like walking with the gift and it looks small and then he turns and it's huge.
Wait, there's a nice little one over there.
It's basically like that. So it's not ideal, especially if you're in a car or a van or you have a bunch of people that you're traveling with. It just takes up too much space and is not ideal. So I do recommend getting a two-piece rod or having two-piece rods and taking those. When it comes to your lures, just take your favorites. Take your best house, because you're gonna be going to a place where you've either never fished before or it's somewhere that you don't fish often. And the place that you're gonna go is gonna have what's best for that water. So I would just recommend setting aside only your favorite baits, your go-tos, that will work, and then purchasing when you get there, because you may bring a whole bunch of gear that you're never gonna use and then you're just wasting space. So great question. And then also lastly, detach your reels from your rods. I know it seems pretty common and just makes obvious sense, but some people don't, and I didn't the very first time that I traveled with my gear. But just break down your reels. They do make reel socks, but you can literally just put your reel in a sock itself, and that will work just fine. It'll keep your reel safe. It'll keep your rods from getting dinged up and your reels from getting dinged up, because the airport and security, all those people, they don't care. They're just moving things. So protect your gear as much as you can. Break down your reels from your rods before you put them in your cases. And two-piece rods, take only what you need. Perfect question. Great job. And then Cody Papan, one of my brother's good buddies, he asked, what's the best bait for catfish? Well, it kind of depends on where you're at, right? So where I am here in very brackish, also salty water, mullet is kind of king here. There are a good amount of shad, but where I'm at locally, mullet is kind of what runs the waterway when it comes to bait. So for me, I would say mullet. Now, however, there are tons of shad here as well. They're just harder to come by. So I would probably say if you're in Oklahoma, if you're up north, if you're not so much in a saltier, brackish waterway, then I would look more to shad. They produce a lot of oil, so they get very stinky. They attract catfish. Catfish love them. You can throw it just about anywhere. Another great bait up north would be skipjack. If you haven't ever used that, I would highly recommend. I even know that some stores carry it from out of state, so you can get it shipped to you. You can get it shipped to a store and buy it that way as well. I think it's just a little on the pricier end. And then something that I think everyone has just in their neighborhood ponds around about, it's going to be bluegill. I prefer to throw bluegill live. It seems to work the best for me. Cut bluegill is very small. It doesn't have a lot of meat generally on the inside unless it is really big.
That's what she said?
So cut bait for bluegill is not my favorite, but it will work. It just is generally a smaller bait, a smaller presentation. So if you're looking for eaters, you're looking for channel cats, small blues, I think small cut bluegill is great. But if you want to change your direction towards flatheads or bigger blues, then I prefer the larger bluegill and to keep them live. So great question there. Curry Fadig asked, preference on saltwater or freshwater? Well, I live in a place where I'm blessed to be able to fish freshwater and saltwater every single day if I wanted to. I don't really have to decide, am I going to go for freshwater day, am I going to go saltwater day? Oftentimes I can catch blue cats and redfish all in the same water. I can catch alligator gar and bull reds, trout, flounder in the same exact spot. So I am very lucky to have that, but it's also very seasonal. Like in the summertime, like now, I'm usually chasing alligator gar. When the fall, winter comes, then I usually switch more to bull reds and blue cats. So it kind of just depends on what I'm in the mood for, but I'm definitely in an area that I can pick and choose any day of the week and change it up. So good question there. Steve-O asks, what are my favorite topwaters? I got two. They're both made by Joey's Custom Baits. I'll show you the first one. It's just a spook right here. Hopefully that focuses. Yep, right there. And it has, I think, maybe 1 or 2 rattles. It's not extremely loud, but I mean, they look beautiful. And it's also a darker tint. I prefer, especially in our waterways with how murky and dark it is, I personally kind of like to throw more of a darker lure. But then also we have the peanut, which has become very, very popular here. I know there's a few different names for them, but we call them the peanut. And these guys, I mean, as you can see, they're kind of shaped more like a peanut. And these are very loud. These are often also what I use for my catfish rig, my Santee rigs that I use also. So I do like to use these because with the live bait, this produces a lot of noise that you just don't get with your normal spook. So I've moved definitely more into this peanut lure, but both phenomenal. And I probably throw Topwaters a little more than I should. I'm known to kind of throw them at any point in time just because throwing a Topwater and it getting smashed, no matter how big the fish, is always just cooler because you get to see it's kind of like throwing live bait. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. We answered all the questions, or most of the questions that I had today. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe. We're going to run this back in a few weeks, so make sure to drop your comments. If I didn't get to yours, I'll probably get to it in the next one, or I just didn't think it was that good and you guys need to step your game up. So thank you guys again for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below your next questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!